What's up? What's up? What's up?
How y'all doing today?
What's up, you guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in the room. Let's get on in. Today's training, we're gonna be digging into the 5 steps that you need for funding your real estate deals. So come on, add your friends, tag them, tell them to come on in the room. I'm excited. I'm excited. Today's Tuesday.
Let's go.
Today's Tuesday. Um, this training is really designed to help you get off the sideline, help you get into the game. What's up, fam? What's up, fam? And to get you what you need in 2024 so you can take it to the next level.
We know that a lot of people have a misperception of what investors use to get their deals funded. A lot of people think that the only option for funding is to go to the local bank, to go to the local credit union and get funding. Yes, those are options, but they are not the only options. And most seasoned investors don't use those options unless they are doing, say, got an echo.
It could be a just keep it could be not an echo. It could be like a sign that she's using. You just can't see it on your end because it's coming from the group.
Got it. Okay. So if you're trying to get into funding, one of the things that we do want you to understand is that there are alternative methods to traditional financing. And the word is called hard money. Hard money can mean a lot of different things, but hard money is basically asset based lending. All right.
With assets, let's break that down a little bit deeper. So, an asset is something that is making you money and not taking money from you. All right. So, a lot of times we think our cars are assets, but in fact, our cars are not assets because if we're not Ubering, if we're not doing DoorDash using our cars and it's not bringing us money, they're actually liability. So, an asset, everybody understands
You just went.
exactly what it is. You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. So come on, let's get in with the training. Let's now ask questions. If you don't understand, ask questions. We understand that this is a new world for people who have never done a deal before,
Mhm.
or you've never been to a train, or you've never been around real estate investors. This is a new world. So make sure you ask questions and get understanding.
And blame that date on me. I know that's not today's date, but blame that on me. Let me prep it. All right, let's talk about what is hard money. So Tonio touched on it. It's a non-traditional bank that lends money based on assets, real estate assets. All right. So not cars. They're lending on real estate. All right. Um, they're not traditional. So it's not your Chase, your Wells Fargo, your Bank of Americas. It's not those banks, your PNCs. No, these are hard money lenders. Now, are they regulated? Yes, but they go by a whole different set of rules.
Well,
They're Go ahead.
one thing I want to drop in real quick is that when we're using hard money to do a fix and flip deal, 95% of the time we're getting a purchase and rehab loan together.
Absolutely.
So we are getting the money to buy the house and we're getting the money to fix the house. So do what you do.
Okay. You totally blew me. I don't even know where I was. Totally threw me
Low
off.
documentation.
So why do we use hard money? Other than using it for the purchase and the rehab, they don't require a lot of documents. So your traditional lenders, they're gonna ask you for your W-2s, they're gonna ask you for your tax returns, they're gonna ask you for a lot of information, and that closing process can really start to extend itself because of all the documents that they require. When it comes to hard money, they're not asking for a lot of documentation. They want to know, hey, is it a deal? Do you got some money? And is it in an entity? Is it in a business? That's mainly what they want to know.
All right. So with hard money, that does not go on your personal credit.
Right.
All right. Hard money lenders do not communicate with each other like that. So if you have 5 loans with this lender and 5 loans with another lender, None of that's going on your personal credit. So it doesn't affect your personal DTI. It doesn't affect your personal credit score.
Now listen, don't come out the gate and you getting 2, 3 loans with this lender, 2 to 3 loans with another lender. Like, really give yourself time to scale and don't rush it. All right. Even though you can do it, that doesn't always mean do it. All right. We talked about it being a quick close. They will allow multiple properties to be funded versus it looking at your DTI and saying, okay, well, your DTI is too high. They're not looking at that. And then when it comes to refinancing, there's little to no seasoning required when it's hard money. If you're doing traditional, then that seasoning is going to be typically about a year.
Yeah.
But if you're going hard money, it's as little as 90 days.
Agreed.
All right. So very little seasoning required.
The 5 things that you need to get lending from a hard money company is, for one, you need a deal.
It has to be a deal.
You need a
It
deal.
has to be a deal.
Like, they are not lending on things that are not deals, y'all. If it's not a deal, they're not lending on it. So you can't make it a deal. All right. They have a formula, they have criteria that they go by, and they have to have a deal in order to lend on it.
Right. You can't just tell them anything and think that it's gonna fly. No, they're gonna, even if you tell them that you have a deal, they're gonna trust but verify that you truly have a deal. All right. Next is you need some money in the bank. You can't say, hey, say Antonio's the hard money lender. Hey, Antonio, I got this deal. It's a killer deal, and I want you to fund 100% the purchase and the rehab. And I want to just come in with no money. No, you got to have some money in the bank. They want to know that you got enough to cover your closing costs. Depending on the lender, you have enough to cover your down payment. And they want to make sure that you have enough if you're doing a fix and flip loan to start up the rehab. All right.
Also, want to make sure you got money to make your interest payments.
Facts. Absolutely. That's very important. So we know the first thing that we need is we got to have a deal. Second is we got to have money in the bank. Third is you want to have a credit score above a 600. 700, if that's what you got, that's great. But you want to at least be above a 600 because that's when they'll for sure do a deal with you.
I will say that some lenders are not worried about your credit score. They are looking at your experience sometimes. So if your credit score is not the best, but you got experience, sometimes you can offset those things. So understand that it's not like FHA where you gotta have a 620 or those type of things. Usually above a 600 kind of gets you in the door. And they're not really worried about the makeup of the credit report. They are just looking at the number on the credit report.
Right. And then hard money lenders are not lending to your personal name. You have to have a business set up. You have to have an entity. You have to have your entity docs so that they can lend to the entity, not the personal name. All right.
And this is entity doc, but this is going to go along that you got to be in good standings with the Secretary of State.
Yes,
All
that's
right?
highly important.
So if you're not in good standing with the Secretary of State, they're not going to lend you any money.
So let's talk about what those entity docs are. All right. They want to make sure you have your articles of organization. So they want to know that it indeed has been filed with the state. This is indeed your entity name. All right. And then they want to make sure that you have your operating agreement. What's that ownership breakdown? Who's doing what in the business? From a percentage wise, if you're 50-50 in it, the hard money lender is going to pull both. If it's 2 people in it, they're going to pull both individuals when it looks at credit, when it looks at, and they'll do the money in the bank if it's 50-50. If it's 80-20, then they're going to do whoever's 80 when it comes to pulling that credit. So making sure that that structure is in place. Don't do a 50-50 operating agreement and one person has a 500 credit score and the other one has a 700. Make sure you carefully look at that before you submit it.
Yes. One thing I will say is that we are talking from a general standpoint when it comes to hard money. Each lender is going to be different. Each lender might have some tweaks But we're talking from a general standpoint. These are the general things that you are going to need when you are going for financing. So you said operating agreement, you said articles of organization.
Make sure you have an EIN number. Okay. So make sure that EIN number is filed with the IRS and you have an EIN number to go with your business because they're going to want to know what's that EIN number. They don't necessarily have to have a picture of the EIN number, but they want to make sure that that EIN number is where it needs to be. And then they're going to ask for either a certificate of good standings or a certificate of compliance. They both are interchangeably based on what state you're in. One state may say certificate of good standing, another state may say certificate of compliance. What that means is that you've paid your taxes when it comes to your business and that it is okay to continue for them to lend to you based off your taxes.
All right, we got a good question that just came in.
All right. Someone said, can a new LLC get funding?
Yes, a new LLC can get hard money funding. I have done it before. I've got a property under my personal name, but I created an LLC during that window before we closed. So yes, that is okay to get a new LLC hard money funding. It's going to come back to your personal credit and your personal bank accounts.
Yep.
All right. So the money don't necessarily have to be in the business bank accounts. As long as it's in your personal accounts and your name is on those accounts, they can use those accounts.
Right.
The last thing they want is a scope of work. And that scope of work is what helps them identify if you have a deal. So once you submit that scope of work to a lender, most times they're not going to let you change it. That's the scope of work they're going to use because that's how they determine if it's a deal or not. Mm-hmm. So if your appraisal comes back low or anything like that, you can't just adjust the scope of work to make it happen. So understand that scope of work is something you're definitely going to need when you are trying to go get some hard money funding.
Absolutely.
Now, do you need all of these things to get pre-approved to start shopping? No. But in order to get that loan, you're going to need these things. Questions. Ask your questions about any of those. Got a couple more slides. We got a couple examples. But we want you to understand that hard money isn't as hard. It isn't
as hard as it sounds.
It's not.
It's not hard. It's not difficult.
Especially if you understand these things going into it. I'm gonna need my articles of organization. I'm gonna need my operating agreement. I'm gonna need my certificate of good standing. Sometimes I might need what's the resolution thing they ask for sometimes?
A resolution.
You might need a resolution of who can sign for the LLC in the docs. So you know those things going in. Usually it's smooth sailing.
Yeah. Usually your first hard money loan may take you a few days to get everything together, but after that you already know what documents are needed. This should help you know what documents are needed so that it's a smooth, fast process and not a 45-day process. All right. So some things that hard money lenders are concerned with, they're more concerned with the collateral than they're worried about your credit. Like they want to make sure, like Antonio said, the deal is really a deal. They don't want to lend on something where you say, you know, the ARV is going to be worth 200,000, but by the time the appraisal comes back, it's really looking like 170. Like It needs to be a deal. It needs to make it make sense. All right.
And they're going to lend on your non-traditional properties. Local banks and big box banks, I guess I said that backwards. Traditional banks, they want the property to be pretty. Hard money, understand this property is going to be ugly. This property is going to need a roof. This property
they have a lot of safety
hazards.
Right.
Like, they understand that this property is going to be disgraced, highly disgraced. All right.
Mm-hmm. And then they're lending on short-term and long-term options. You had your fix and flips. You got your 30-year traditional. So a lot of the same products that you can get from traditional, you can also get from hard money, which is what makes it so competitive when it comes to getting it in your business entity and being able to build that portfolio.
Yes. So long-term loans are something that a lot of people don't know hard money have.
Correct.
And when we say long-term, we are saying 30-year type loans, fixed rate type loans. Short-term is mostly 6 months to a year.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your short-term interest-only loans, but they also have long-term loans to help build your portfolio.
Yeah. So you can keep it in that business entity. You can keep it from being on your DTI with traditional by having it with the hard money lender. Hard money lenders are not going to be low when it comes to interest rates. Like you gotta pay to play. They're going to be higher than your traditional interest rates. So for example, if your traditional interest rates are 7%, expect hard money to be starting at 9%.
Yep.
But guess what? It doesn't matter how much the money costs. It matters what you're going to make. So if you have to pay a higher interest rate and it's something that you're keeping long term, look at it like this. You're not physically paying it. The tenant is paying it.
Yes. And we sidetracked. We did a training on that exact topic as far as calculating how much money costs and why it's good and why it's bad. So in the REI Decoded group, go back and look for that training. And we did a credit card calculator and put CCC, and you can get that recording and that credit calculator that we use. So it's in the group if you want that also.
Absolutely. All right. Let's do it.
At any point, y'all drop y'all questions.
So some of the options that hard money lenders allow are, when it comes to lending options that they have, is fix and flips, bridge loans, rental financing, multifamily, and new construction. So I think everybody knows what a fix. I don't know if everybody knows what a fix and flip loan
Thank
is.
you.
I don't. So a fix and flip loan is when you buy a property that looks really jacked up and you ask for funding on the property to fix it up while you purchase it in order to flip it or to refinance on it and keep it. All right.
So even if your plan is to refinance on the property after it's fixed up, it's still considered a fix and flip loan.
Mm-hmm.
Fix and flip loan are interest only loans. So if you borrow $100,000 and you paying 10% a month, it's $1,000. Your loan is still gonna be $100,000 at the end of your 6 months or a year.
Right.
All right. So that's a fix and flip loan.
All right. Bridge loans. Bridge loans are exactly what it is. It's the bridge. So it's in between you having that short term financing, like a fix and flip loan, and having that long term financing, which will be a rental loan. Bridge loans are usually 12 to 18 months. You may find some for about 24 months, but typically it's 12 to 18 months. And it's to serve the gap until you're able to really refinance or until interest rates go down, or if you're not planning on holding the property for a long term and you don't want to get into a full rental 30-year loan, then that bridge loan comes into play. Yeah. Or if you need to finish your rehab because you ran out of time in your fix and flip loan, you can get a bridge loan until you finish it.
So also people use bridge loans sometimes to buy properties that are already ready. So let's say that you want to buy a property, but it don't need no rehab. Sometimes you can use a bridge loan also because if you're using traditional banks to refinance, that's where the seasoning come in. So you can get into it with a bridge loan and then refinance to a long-term loan later. So bridge loans are really the same thing as fix and flip loans. It's just that that property most of the time is already stabilized.
Mm-hmm. All right. Rental financing is your rental loan. So it is your 30-year rental loans where depending on the lender, you'll have 30 years. And then if you sell before those 30 years, they have what is called a prepayment penalty. And that prepayment penalty basically says, okay, if you sell in the first year, this is how much you'll have to pay us in interest. If you sell in the 5th year, this is how much. Most of them, as long as you don't sell in the first 5 years, would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. The first 5 years, then there's no penalty. And those are typically for your long-term loans.
Also, I want to add to that with the rental financing loan, you do have uh like 5-year amortizations and 10-year amortization and 30-year amortization. Like you do have different options. So you got balloon options. You don't have to just be a 30-year fix. You could do a 30-year loan, but it balloons in 5 years.
So what does balloon mean? That means everything is due in 5 years, but your note, your payments are on a 30-year payment so that you can actually cash flow versus it just being a 5 year
Yes.
loan.
So on somebody asked the question, is it interest only?
And I think that was for the bridge loan.
On bridge loans, yes, it's interest only. On rental financing loans, no. Those are PIT, I think they want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Principal and interest loans. So when you're paying your 30-year loans on that rental financing, those loans, some of that does go towards your principal amount.
Oh, such a great question. Why would someone want a balloon loan? All right, so reasons why you would want a balloon loan. If you're planning on selling it in the first 5 years and you don't want to be hit with those prepayment penalties, if you're planning on selling it soon, then you would get a balloon loan so that your prepayment penalties aren't so stringent.
And sometimes those loans are cheaper loans compared to 30-year fixed loan. Sometimes it is, they call it basis points. Sometimes you can get a cheaper loan if you do it doing 5 years. So all those things will play into it. But I like the 30-year fixed rates.
And remember, if it's cheaper for you to do a balloon, a 5 year balloon, and it makes sense, and you're gonna hold it longer, you can always refinance at the 4.5 year mark, 5 year mark, and get another long-term loan if you don't know exactly what you're planning on doing at that particular moment.
Yes.
So sometimes things start off as short term, but then it end up being long term later.
You got multifamily loans, and remember, multifamily is 5 or more doors.
5 or more doors.
If it is 1 to 4 doors, they're still considering that single family.
Yes.
And one thing I'll say about multifamily loans is they are requiring more money down on those type of loans. Mm-hmm. They are a little more tougher to get into, but they are out there if you need them from a hard money standpoint.
Absolutely. All right. Next is new construction. New constructions are your new builds. Everywhere that you see new builds. Guess what? Hard money lenders will fund them as well. They just want you to have some experience before they decide to give you money for a whole development. Ideally, they want you to own the land, and a lot of that pre-construction legwork with the surveying, with the mapping out the roads, development costs, they want that to be taken care of by you beforehand.
Yes. So those are all your options. I can tell you for us personally, we mainly do fix and flip, bridge, rental.
Yeah.
We're not new construction builders. We're not multifamily investors. We normally do fix and flip, bridge, rental. Those are our sweet spots.
Absolutely.
All right. What's next?
So some of the pre-qualifications is making sure you complete their loan application. Each lender has their own loan application. They're going to ask for your photo ID. Again, they're going to ask for your LLC documents. Most lenders want 2 months bank statements. Some want 3. So make sure at the end of the bank that you have money in those accounts at the end of the statement.
Let me make sure I say this. So they're not necessarily looking at how much money is coming in and out of the bank account. They're looking at what's your balance at the end of the month.
What are you keeping?
That's what they're looking at. So if you are thinking about doing a hard money loan, you need to pay attention to that number to make sure that at the end of the month, you have some money in the account to send the lender. All right.
And if you want to know, like, what's a good way to know how much money I need to have in the account, let's put a deal in and let's do a term sheet so you know exactly, okay, what kind of money do I need? Did I say that clearly? Help me out. Okay. All right. They want to know if you own any real estate. All right. So do you have any real estate? Have you owned any real estate? They want to know if you own any real estate, is it cash flowing? Are you trying to sell it? Is it up on the market to be flipped? Like, they want to know where you stand from a portfolio standpoint. And if you don't own any, then guess what? That's simple.
And they use this schedule of real estate owned to help price your loan. So the more experience you have, the cheaper your loan becomes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the seesaw. So if you have no experience, the higher the loan will be. If you have low credit, the more you're going to pay.
Right.
But if you have real estate experience, and usually I do the last 3 years of experience, but sometimes they'll do 5.
Yeah.
So if you got rental properties, that's experience. It don't have to always be fix and flip.
Yeah.
Now your personal house isn't considered experience.
That's not, even if you renovated it yourself, even if you got a renovation loan on it. No, if you're living there, that's not considered experience.
Yes.
Right.
So for most lenders, they are going to be saying, hey, if you're done 3 or less deals, you are a newbie. 3 to 10 deals, you have intermediate. 10 or more, you're experienced. So
right.
Those levels will dictate how many points you pay up front, and then also dictate your interest rates a lot of times.
So I know we talked about scope of work being important. The scope of work is basically what is going to be done during the renovation and how much it's going to cost from a labor and a material standpoint, line item by line item. That's what they want to know when it comes to your scope of work. They want to make sure that you have insurance. They want to make sure that the property is going to be insured, that it has everything when it comes to an insurance standpoint. If it's in a flood area, they're probably going to ask for flood insurance. They want to make sure everything is what it needs to be before they take on this new loan.
Yes. Also, keep in mind with insurance, a lot of times your regular insurance people are not the people you go to for your rental property insurance.
Yeah, because there's a liability in place. So most of your lenders, they want to know, your insurance lenders, they want to know that, okay, is this house vacant, and there's a specific type of insurance for if it's vacant. Is it being renovated? There's a specific type of insurance for it being renovated. So you want to make sure that it's affordable to you, for one, and that you're going with insurance providers that understand that you're renovating it, you're going to put a tenant in it, whatever it is. If it's Airbnb, there's specific insurance companies that will that will cover Airbnbs.
Minimum money in the bank is about $15,000, and the reason it's 15,000 is because most hard money lenders have minimum loan amounts. So even if you go to a lender and you get 100% purchase financing and 100% rehab financing up to 70% of the price of the house, the sale value, the sale amount, they still want to see that you have money to come to closing with, and you have money to start your rehab. So for my experience dealing with most lenders, a minimum is about 15,000 they want to see, because at 10,000 you don't have enough money to bring the closing and start your rehab and show them you got money to make your payments.
Right.
15,000 is about where I see it. That's like the starting point.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Questions.
Drop them in the chat, you guys, so we can make sure you feel confident on getting started, getting in the game. All right, let's talk about what does this hard money deal look like. Got your good eyes? All right.
Got all your eyes on?
Sure, they still ain't good. Watch me squeeze up a little bit. All right. So this property is a single family home. The product that we're using is a flip product. Purchase price
a fix and flip loan.
A fix and flip loan. Purchase price is $74,000. Rehab needed is $35,000. Estimated ARV is $180,000. All right. It's 4-2. Yeah. You ready?
You can't read it. That total loan amount is $109,000. So understand that this loan was 100% purchase and 100% rehab. Now the key to the rehab part is that money goes into what we call an escrow, and you get reimbursed for the rehab that you do. So if you close on this loan, yes, your loan is $109,000, but they're not giving you that $35,000 at closing.
They're not. I've only had one lender that did that, and it was a private lender, and I about freaked out, not under because it was my first time. But no, they're not giving it to you. Don't expect that 35,000 to hit your account so you can start your rehab. No, you need that. That's what the money in the bank is for, so that you can start your rehab and then they'll reimburse you.
Yes. All right, we'll go to the next one. So these are kind of some of the terms with the funds. The loan to value was 60% on this loan, which is good. Most lenders won't go over 70%. Some might do 75%, but it's got very few will do it. You got to have some experience mainly. But if you're in at 60% on a deal, that's very good to them. That's considered a deal.
That's considered a deal.
If you're in at 60% of ARV on the loan, that's considered a deal to them.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
This one interest rate's 12%. The monthly payments for this loan was $1,090, which is 1% of that purchase of that loan amount. So that's the easy way so you know exactly, what your payments are going to be. For this one, it was 1%. Rehab holdback 35,000. They charged us points. So points are basically how the hard money lender makes their money. All right. They're going to charge it up front. That helps pay for their staff. That helps pay for their underwriters, everyone in there. So ideally, it's not a lot of money. Let's just say that. So pay your points. All right. Don't complain about your points.
Let's calculate the points. So how you calculate points is the points is a percentage of your overall loan.
Right.
So in this situation, the overall loan was $109,000.
Mm-hmm.
The points was 3%. So how I would calculate exactly how much the points are, I would put 109,000 into my calculator and times that by 3%. That gives me $3,270. Most lenders want this pay up front.
Yes. This is going to be on your HUD. It's going to be on your closing statement.
Yes. So that's how much points would have cost on this loan was $3,270.
Absolutely. And then the term of the loan, 12 months is what this is. This is a fix and flip loan. So they're only giving 12 months. Yes, there's going to be interest only. And then expect to pay when it comes to your appraisals anywhere between $450 to $800. I haven't seen much over $800.
No, I ain't. Right. So did you go over the closing fees? Or you couldn't see that?
I don't know. Did I?
So there's lender closing fees.
Oh no, I couldn't see.
So the lender is going to have their own set of fees on top of the points. So they're going to have like some doc prep fees. They're going to have some fees on their end, along with the points, along with the closing costs for the lawyer. So those are all fees that's going to go into your closing costs of the money you got to bring to closing.
Absolutely. And these closing costs are not your attorney closing costs. Okay? These are lender closing costs only. All right. Let's hit it.
Nah, ain't that good. You gotta make that bigger, that player.
Ooh, come on. Show me what you got. All right. So loan amount still 109. Purchase price 74,000. Rehab hold 35,000. Loan origination points 3,270. That's your 3%. Admin fee. That's what I like to call their junk fees, but they gotta pay. They gotta pay their employees. That's $2,495. Recording and wire fees. That's typically with your closing attorney. Estimate about $50. Prepaid interest, depending on where you're starting the loan, what day of the month. I'm just estimating $179 for it.
Let me say this. I want to give an example of that. So if you are doing a new loan and your payment is $1,000 a month, interest only. At closing, let's say you close on the 15th of the month, they're going to make you pay from the 15th to the 1st up front. So keep that in mind. If you close towards the end of the month, it's going to be a little less. If you close towards the beginning of the month, it's going to be more. So understand, you're gonna have to put some prepaid interest, pay some prepaid interest at closing.
Absolutely. Estimated insurance for this property $1,099. Estimated title cost $1,500. So the estimated borrower out of pocket expenses is about $8,593. All right. And at this rate, you're gonna need to show about $18,594 in the bank before they'll lend you this deal.
Yep.
All right. Let me know if y'all have questions.
All right, let's go. Let's get some questions in. If you didn't understand anything, let us know. If you need a hard money lender, let us know. Questions. What's something that we missed? Yes.
I'm thinking hard too.
Thinking hard. All right. Well, if y'all ain't got no questions, we're gonna get out of here. We just kind of wanted to show y'all how we fund majority of our deals, how you fund real estate deals.
Because we've been getting a lot of questions where they're like, okay, well, what's the difference between business funding and hard money funding? Like, what's the difference? So we thought it would be a good idea to break down, okay, what is hard money and how do hard money fund, so that as you're looking at deals, as you're putting them under contract, you understand what your options are.
Yes. Understand those are two separate things. Business funding and real estate funding are two separate things. Don't put them together just because we say funding. You don't have to go and save $100,000 in the bank to get into real estate. I know a lot of people think that. You don't have to do that. You need to save about $15,000 to $20,000, gets you in the door.
Yes.
All right.
Right.
When you see people buying a lot of properties, that don't mean they're buying them properties with money out of their pockets.
Right.
Like, they got good financing, they got good relationships. That's how they're maneuvering around and buying real estate.
Oh, this is a good question. It says, what are other financing options if you don't have that money that the hard money lender is looking for? Then you want to get some private money lenders in place. You want to make sure that you have a conversation with potential people that would like to make a return on their investment. And you want to secure some private money lending. You want to get a partnership with someone who's looking to make a return and do a deal with them because they have the money in the bank.
Here you go. First thing you want to do is go find a private lender. Mm-hmm. All right. Make sure your private lender has money in the bank. Yes. Okay.
Who are private lenders?
Private lenders are friends, family, co-workers,
barbers,
people you grew up with.
Yeah.
Private lenders are people peer-to-peer type lending. Mm-hmm. All right. You don't necessarily have to use their funds in the bank, but from a paper standpoint, if you don't have it, go find it.
Yes.
Go find somebody that got $15,000 to $20,000 sitting in the bank that you can partner with, and you can create an LLC with them. And there's been times to where we've used one partner's bank statements and we've used the other partner's credit to make it all work.
Yeah.
So if you got credit, if you got over a 600, but you don't got the funds, go find that. If you have the money in the bank,
but don't have
the credit, go find somebody that got over a 600.
Yeah.
All right.
And then split the deal together. Do the deal together. Someone say, when do you usually have to start making payments to the hard money lender? At the beginning of the next month.
When you close, you start making payments.
Well, because you're paying those
prepaid
interest.
And then that money kicks in.
Sometimes it's like a 30-day though.
Yeah. But so, like, remember we said in the beginning that we're talking from a general standpoint of hard money lenders. I know some hard money lenders that say, don't pay me no money until you close on the loan. Mm-hmm. Don't pay me no points up front. Don't pay me no interest payments while you got it. Just pay me at the end when you close.
Yeah.
So there's tweaks and perks about each one. You just gotta talk to enough of them, experience enough of them to know which ones is best for you or your situation.
Right.
All right.
Ooh.
For those who don't know, we do have a mentorship and coaching program that we offer. So if you wanted some information on that, schedule a 15-minute call. Let's talk about it. We ain't selling nothing on that call, just to tell you kind of what we do, who we are, and let's see if you're a good fit for us also. So talk to us. We help people get their first deal. That's our main focus. That's our thing. We help new people get into the game. That's how our program is designed. And if you are that person and you want to get into the game, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Absolutely. All right. What other questions do you have? They're getting the link ready. Um, they're getting the link ready to send it out. Well, to post it. Do you suggest getting a lawyer to draw up a deal to protect both party interests before forming an LLC together? Absolutely. Absolutely. That LLC, I would say
Yeah, thank
that
you.
LLC is what
Will
protects
protect.
both interests.
Yes.
So if you're getting a lawyer to do the LLC, then yes, that's what it will be. But there are ways that you can do LLCs without doing a lawyer. You can use um it kind of depends on what you got from a financial standpoint. You can use e-forms, you can use what's another one?
Rocket lawyer.
Rocket Lawyer. You can use any of those sites and they'll help you
But
create your
I
LLC.
highly suggest you use a lawyer to do that LLC, especially if it's your first time, because there's questions that you don't even know you need to talk about before you do an LLC. So
Right.
that lawyer can help y'all navigate the questions and navigate the things that you're going through to make sure that it goes as smooth as possible.
Fact. Ooh,
You said, "Ooh,
that was a good question.
oh, thought you seen something." Okay, but we ain't gonna hold y'all, man. We just want to get y'all quick pops. If y'all got questions, we here for you.
If you have something that you want us to teach on, that you are struggling with, let us know. Send us a DM. Let us know exactly if there's something in particular that you want us to hit on, and we'll be more than happy to hit on those points and teach it in one of our Tuesday sessions.
Yep, we have on Thursday, we have our Fearless Investor podcast coming back up. We're going to have Mr. Johnny in the building. He's
Yes,
our multifamily guy. If you're interested in multifamily, I highly recommend you come and listen to the podcast. He's also coming to REI Live on
February
February 20th.
20th.
That's
Yes,
in Birmingham, Alabama. That's our in-person meeting. The podcast is virtual. So if you're in Birmingham or the surrounding areas, come check him out in person.
absolutely. It's absolutely free to come. So make sure you come. We're not charging. We just want to make sure that you're learning and growing and getting into the game.
Yes.
All right. On
Our
February 6th,
next event of the
yes, on February 7th is our property walkthrough. We're going to be in Hueytown walking through this property. It is wrapping up and should be done. Hopefully, it's done by then.
agree.
Hopefully, it's done by then.
All right.
All right.
Any questions came through? Anything y'all need from us? Uh, don't forget, if you're trying to get started in real estate and you need some direction, book a call and let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. All right. Love you guys. Have an amazing, amazing Tuesday and week.